Well, we got a little excitement. I was just putting the second headland pass on the south side. I only got one here, and came into this corner and wanted to make sure that I didn't leave a skip. So I kind of pulled past, and then I knew I was going to be close, but I thought I was okay, and I hit the into the boom on a tree and popped the foam marker deal out. I'm hoping if I take this hose clamp off, like basically there's a little, supposed to be a little plastic ring here that this thing seals up against the other fitting. I'm hoping there's enough of it left. If I take this nipple out of the rubber hose here, I'll be able to put that back together and maybe be able to run for today. Probably gonna have to keep an eye on it though to make sure I don't lose it in the middle of the field somewhere. Well, I spent about 5 minutes on this so far, and I had good intentions, but I can't get the fitting out of the hose. I can tell that there's, based on the bulge in the hose here, there's probably a pretty sharp barb a ways down there. And I don't really have the right screwdriver to be able to pry down and get that rubber stretched out to get it to pull loose. Plus, I can't really pry on it or I'm gonna demolish what plastic I have left. So I think I'm just going to leave these loose pieces off the sprayer and see if it'll shoot foam out the way that it is. I think that it probably will, but it will be probably a narrow stream rather than a big dollop of foam. We'll see how it acts, but I think this is a lost cause. If nothing else, I don't really need the foam marker because I've got the display there that I can see where I've been and where I have it. Not a big deal, probably like a $3 plastic part, but unfortunately I doubt anybody within an hour here, maybe an hour and a half, has one. And I'm not gonna stop, just fix that when it's not a deal breaker. I've got 2 loads done and the third one on the sprayer. Should be about half done with this field and then have a little less than a load left after this. So right now it's lunchtime. I'm gonna let the sprayer agitate, have a granola bar or 2 and some water out of the thermos that's back there somewhere. And hopefully be able to finish up spraying beans today. It's about 7 o'clock now, and hopefully gonna finish up at least the first round of post-spraying soybeans today. I've got a small batch on the sprayer right now, about 4 acres worth, that should get me done. I mixed up a full batch at the field where I had the tank earlier, but didn't quite get done, and probably could have mixed up stuff with the rinse water, but I kind of wanted to be able to rinse out the jugs that I used today good. Normally, I think the rule is to triple rinse, or else normally we just use the nozzle on this hose, and that'll get things cleaned out pretty well so that you don't have any herbicide residue left in the jug, both for environmental reasons and to get the most out of the money that we paid for it as possible. So we went back and got the tractor from the other field. So I gotta turn a corner. So we went back and got the tractor and the trailer with the water tank on it. And then sort of chilled out for a little bit. It wasn't supposed to be very windy today, but it seemed to kind of pick up pretty good this afternoon. And it's still a little windier than would be ideal probably, but since I've already outlined everything, the field that I was spraying this afternoon, I was able to sort of get the downwind side of the field sprayed before it got too bad. Hopefully, it was kind of gusty, so I hope I don't have any skips. I mean, some wind helps cover up the gaps between the boom if you don't dry it perfect. But if it's gusty, you can actually sort of pick up the herbicide and carry it away. So we'll see how things look next week probably. I have herbicide to hit everything again for a second post pass. I hope I won't have to, since the beans seem to be growing pretty decent at this point. If we can get the rows closed before any water hemp grows through, usually they'll shade out the little stuff that comes up later, or outcompete the water hemp for the most part. But we've got 8 acres left, and then we're done with soybeans for the time being. other piece that I neglected to mention is that since the wind was blowing, that also made it take longer, because basically large droplets will normally drift less than fine droplets, and as your pressure goes up, you get more fines. So if you want to, minimize drift to the extent that you can with a given, set of nozzles and rate and all of that stuff, you can, if you slow down, the droplets will be bigger. So a lot of what I sprayed this afternoon, I was intentionally driving slow to try to keep those droplets as big as possible and hopefully get that herbicide where I wanted it and not blown 50 feet off onto the next pass. Got the boom rinsing out right now, so we're pushing just straight water through, or should be straight water at this point. Just trying to get things cleaned out. We'll call that good enough. Done with post-spraying soybeans. Or probably, I should say, done post-spraying soybeans for now. Because probably I'm going to at least go around the outer edges of stuff. I mean, maybe not, but most likely. But we'll give it a week or so and see how things look then and figure out. I need to look at the label and see what the recommendation is on Liberty. I didn't really see very many big water hemp or anything else in most spots. Where there are big stuff, I kind of know, so I can go look at those. If you have big stuff, sometimes it takes a second pass to get it completely killed. You'll kind of burn it back the first time and then the plant will recover. But we'll kind of check stuff out in a week or so. I mean, the stuff that I sprayed last week, even though it was not in great conditions, you can kind of see on the end rows here, like up to about, see how all the volunteer corn is brown in this area. And then you can see, let's see if I can match up. There's some greener stuff there. And for sure, like if we look out here just past the boom there, there's a nice green volunteer corn with some brown tips. And then you can see some green ones behind it blowing in the breeze. So I should have a pretty good idea where things are at in about a week, or even probably the beginning of next week, to be honest. So we'll kind of see how things look and then make the call depending on how many weeds are out there.